hearing that some people also were attempting to scoop fuel at the time when this happened. Now let's turn to Jigawa State, where the death toll, we understand, in the petrol tanker explosion in Majia town, that's in Taura local government area, has risen to well over 109 and 70 injured. That's according to Jigawa Police Command. The tragic incident happened on Tuesday at 11 p.m. when the driver of the petrol laden vehicle lost control of the vehicle and crashed. Petrol spilled into the surrounding areas, and as locals attempted to scoop the product, the tanker exploded. Police Public Relations Officer of Jigawa Command, Lawan Adam, who confirmed the incident to journalists in Dutse, said those injured in the inferno were rushed to Ringen General Hospital. The State's Commissioner of Police has condoled with the people of Majia town, asking residents to exercise caution and avoid scenes of petrol tanker accidents. Mass burial has been conducted for victims of the petrol tanker explosion. And more reactions are trailing the accident in Jigawa State. Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima has announced immediate federal government intervention, advocating a comprehensive review of fuel transportation safety protocols across Nigeria. According to a statement by the Senior Special Assistant of the President on Media and Communications, Stanley Kwacha, the Vice President has also directed the immediate deployment of the National Emergency Management Agency personnel and resources to the state. Senator Shettima also commended first responders and medical personnel for their tireless efforts, stating their dedication exemplifies the best of our nation's spirit. The Vice President, on behalf of President Bola Tinubu, expressed sorrow for the families who lost loved ones in the tragic incident and prayed that Almighty Allah grants them the fortitude to bear the loss. Also, Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has described the tragic petrol tank explosion in Jigawa State as unfortunate and sad. She condoled with Governor of Jigawa State, Umar Namadi, and the people of the state, praying God to grant the families, friends, and loved ones of the victims the fortitude to bear the loss and grant speedy recovery to the injured. Very sad stories and tale to tell, from building collapse, boat mishap to tanker accident. What is the level of disaster management in Nigeria? That's the big question we're asking tonight. Former General Manager, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Tiamiyu Adesina, joins me in the studio. Mr. Adesina, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Very sad tale. One tanker explosion too many. What do you make of the recent incident? Just last month, somewhere in North Central, a similar incident happened. This morning, we recorded another one on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Well,
it's an unfortunate situation. I commiserate with the state and the families of those who lost their life in this unfortunate incident. But truth must be told. Until we all learn how to be very, very careful, incidents like this will be difficult to stop. Look, emergency is always there. Emergencies will happen. It only takes a spark for it to happen. Now, don't be that spark. That's the message. 3 days ago, we had the world celebrated Disaster Reduction Day. What exactly is the message? What are our people listening to? It saddens me to read that in this day, in this country, tanker falls and people still run there to scoop fuel. Come on, let's talk about it from Lagos, Abeokuta, everywhere. These are things that happen regularly. What is the lesson?
Some say the people have become even more desperate now, given the economic realities of it.
No, I'm not going to buy that. Look, like the Yorubas would say, if you're going to talk about the story of Nigeria, you must be alive. Nothing will be more precious to you than your life. Look, even if you make the money, it's for you to live. Now that they have lost life, what is there for them again? That cannot be an excuse. Look, the rich also cry. We are all going through it. If you don't have a car, you consider yourself poor. But today, if you have a car, it takes money to fill your tank. So everybody is poor. But does that mean you should go and kill yourself? I think basically public education must be increased. We must strengthen public institutions, saddled with the responsibility of informing our people. What should we do when things like this happen? You cannot overemphasize this. I keep saying it all the time. Look at the number of people who died in Jigawa, over 100. That's massive. Look, we had explosions here in Lagos before. But I think public education in Lagos has worked. You hardly will see that within the territory of Lagos these days. I'm not saying it is perfect, but at least you cannot compare Lagos with other states.
Unfortunately, buildings are still falling like a pack of cards in Lagos.
It will fall.
Why?
And that's the most unfortunate thing. It will fall. One, go around Lagos today. You have buildings that are very, very old. What are we doing about it? Look, we cannot be sentimental when it comes to safety. Look, this thing does not respect anybody. Even if you are the president and you stay in a dilapidated building, your immunity does not does not cover that. So everybody must be careful. You go around Lagos, you see blighted areas, you see structures with visible cracks. What are we doing? If government goes in to break them down, the public cries. If you leave them and allow them more time and they come down on their own, just like the one in Ijora or so a few days ago, everybody begins to blame government. So if I were the government, why don't you go the full hog? Show to the people the reason why this structure must go down. There are visible cracks. There are, iron from the decking already showing. Please, put it out there. Let them see it. And then take your caterpillar there. Bring it down.
There are agencies of government saddled with this responsibility. The question has always been whether or not the willpower is there to implement all of this. What do you think is the challenge here? You've talked about what the people feel, but the people are not the law, and they are not saddled with that responsibility. It falls back to the responsibility of government to ensure that even before you bring up a building, it aligns with the expectations and the standard, proceedings in that regard. But what do you think is the major challenge here with these agencies of government?
Now, the truth is we must all accept our blames. Government must accept that blame, that its oversight functions on structural takeoff of every building has been breached, and they have been unable to hold on to people who do that. We must accept that. But again, some of us who also go behind the night to, put up structures when we know during the day government will come for us, we should also accept that our responsibility. But then the society must also, take its own responsibility for seeing something and keeping quiet. Now, when you put all of these three together, all of us are to blame. You're talking about what is the challenge. The loss is also a challenge. Look, today, if you are caught shooting someone to death, the law does not allow, if you are arrested, the law does not summarily say, take him to the stake and kill him. He has to go to the courts. And it is not something that happens quickly. That dampens the spirit of, the policemen or whatever who do that. You have seen policemen arrest people and in 5 days or in 1 month, still encounter such person on the street. Maybe because the law is not strong enough to keep them behind bars.
Or the people meant to enforce it have been compromised.
That is also a possibility. I don't have a fact to say that.
Because the idea is that, using your analogy, if people keep shooting at people and nothing happens, then it becomes a lawless community. And that's pretty much what you see. You see buildings spring up, you see a mark on it, and then before you know it, the mark disappears. There doesn't seem to be intentionality behind the operation of these building agencies to be able to enforce the law in this regard. The moment they come in, something happens and then they withdraw. I
agree with you. You see, the truth is that they may not have an opportunity to come up like this and start saying some of their challenges. But the truth is that they do face challenges. I ran an agency of government before, and I know that when you want to take some actions, people are already calling those who are bigger than you, giving you instructions on how low, how high you should go. That's a major challenge. Somebody gave me a job, and he asked me to wait. How many Nigerians have that liver? To say, no, sir, I disagree with you. With your employer, it's difficult. That's a challenge. But again, the critical challenge is individuality of those who run positions. Look, when I was there, I don't call anybody before I go ahead and do my job. As long as I know this is what the rule says, you have breached that rule, I will start. I have given instruction when I saw a visible crack on a building before. And the owner of the next building is crying. Look, this will come on my building. What are we going to do? And I know, and I can see it. And in a matter of less than an hour, this will go down. I put in the fork on the excavator. Puncture this. That is a fait accompli. Even if anybody comes, I have destroyed it further. We must be strong in whatever we do, as long as your conscience is clear. I don't understand why every day building. Look at the one in Ijora. Come on, that's an eyesore. I understand people have been given quick notice to leave that place, and fortunately, they have left. But even when they have left, what is the building standing for? Why must it? Because when structures come down on their own, you cannot control them. Control demolition is easy. You can manage it very well. You can determine where you want this to fall. But when it is on its own, it's a free fall. So it goes wherever the strength takes it.
Another challenge is that when these things happen, that's pretty much all we hear about it.